I'd like to know what you think the appropriate response should be from Israel and whether Iran is done.
Well, right now, Joe, I think the concern is that we're headed towards a wider war. Israel has done a pretty effective job going after Hezbollah's leadership, Hamas's leadership, but they're now engaged in a ground war that, while limited in scope, once you get into that area with mountains and tunnels, you're never quite sure what is going to happen. Now, Iran has responded with almost 200 missiles. And while it may be largely effective and ineffective in terms of its impact, these are ballistic missiles. These are big missiles. They have struck some targets. And I think Israel has made clear that it now will respond. And so the question is going to be, what kind of response do we now see? Is it going to be targeted? Is it going to be aimed at military targets? Or is it going to be aimed at populated areas? That'll tell us a lot about how far this war is going to expand.
Well, if Israel does choose to respond, Iran has been warning that any further response from Israel would face a subsequent and crushing response, according to what they posted on social media today. Mr. Secretary, you talked about the kind of powerful missiles that were sent here, nearly 200 of them. Is this the worst Iran's got to send Israel's way? What would a further substantive, crushing response actually look like?
Well, these are ballistic missiles. They're much more powerful than the ones that were involved in the attack, the kind of drone attacks that occurred in April. So this is a powerful response by Iran. However, obviously, because of the Iron Dome and the defense systems that Israel has and the help of the United States, most of those were able to be brought down. But some did hit their targets, I think particularly in Gaza. We'll find out those reports later. But there's no question that Iran has additional missiles and that they may very well use additional ballistic missiles in the future. So this tit for tat is going to go on for a while. It isn't going to suddenly come to an end. The real question is whether Iran, in the end, wants a wider war, whether Israel ultimately wants to strike back at Iran. That'll tell us a lot about whether or not we're going to see a much wider war in the Middle East, which I think will be bad for all the parties.
Well, this is the question, of course, that's so difficult to answer, Mr. Secretary. We've been warned for generations about this moment, what it would mean for global security. And here we stand today talking again about Iran conducting a direct attack against Israel. To what extent can the U.S. help to contain this, help to keep this from becoming a wider war? Is it simply military presence? We've been surging troops and material into the region for weeks now to try to keep this from happening.
No, I think it's very important to continue to expand our deterrence in the region. That means adding additional Navy vessels, and we are. There are carriers that are now deployed to the area. We've increased the number of troops. We've increased the additional presence of other capabilities in that region. So we sent a clear signal to Iran that the United States has indeed expanded our ability to respond if the United States is hit in any way. So I think that's an important step. I think you've got to show Iran that if they, in fact, hit hard again, that it's possible that Israel, supported by the United States, will have to defend that area and defend their troops. That's going to be the issue. The issue right now is whether or not Iran really does want that expanded war. They know that if we get into an expanded war, it means the end of their regime. And so for that reason, I think right now the best tactic is to expand our deterrence, expand our capabilities there, and make clear that if Iran does something wrong, they're going to get hit hard.
Mr. Secretary, we have less than a minute left, but of course there is a vice presidential debate happening tonight. What would you advise Governor Tim Walz to say on this issue?
I think it's really important to stress that the next president of the United States has to be a strong commander-in-chief who believes in world leadership, believes in alliances, and believes that it is incredibly important for the United States to be involved in efforts to try to bring about world peace. And I think that that's going to be a growing issue in this campaign, which is the issue of just exactly which candidate would be the strongest commander-in-chief in confronting the challenges that are out there.